Welcome to Grub at our latest Carol Lawson show of the season. It is great to have you with us. Great to have a full house here tonight. Great to be with the head coach of the Blue Devils, Carol Lawson. Coach, great to see you as always. Great week for your club. Went 2-0 in the West Coast swing to California. What kind of start as we always do? As you look back on the week that was, what's the biggest takeaways for you from the way your team played last week?
Two tough games. And when you look back at our season, we hadn't had a ton of possession games late. And so it's always nice to have reps in those. We were down 10 the start of the fourth quarter against Cal, and to be able to battle back and then have it be back and forth, have different players make plays, big plays late. That game, I thought Ashland did a terrific job of making plays late. I thought Woody came in and made a big free throw for us, and then Ariana with that huge free throw offensive rebound to give us the 4-point separation was huge. So to see them in that type of environment, to see them be in a pressurized game where every possession matters, it's tied, you're up 1, you're down 1, you're up 2, you're up 3. How do you manage that was really good. And then of course at Stanford we weren't down 10 points to start the fourth, but it still was close throughout. And it took, a number of players making big time plays down the stretch to be able to get that win. And so to come away in possession games 2-0, because it could very easily go the other way. One play here, one play there, it's an 0-2 road trip instead of a 2-0 road trip. And I think when how fickle the game can be and the margin for error is really small, for them to kind of bend the game in their direction late was awesome to see as a coach.
You mentioned the possession games. I know you try to replicate that in practice or maybe in some of the non-conference games, but how hard is it to replicate the feeling of being in the moment and having to produce for your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk about this with our players. The more you're in those moments, the more comfortable you
Mhm.
get. And so it's a matter of repetition. You know, one of the biggest fallacies in sport is that like someone's born clutch. They'll say so and so's born clutch. No, they weren't. No one born clutch. It's being in those moments, time and time again. You get you understand yourself more in those
Mhm.
moments. So most of us in pressurized moments still have weaknesses, still have things that happen to us. Some people it might be they get sped up. Some people it might be they get nervous. Maybe it's they forget things. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen to you when you're in those moments. And once you learn that about yourself, it's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
Once you're like, oh, I get sped up in those moments. Okay, now when you get in those moments, you can actively work to slow yourself down because you know that that's a tendency of yours. And so the information is the power, right? Once you have information about who you are in adverse situations, who you are in pressurized moments, now you can actively work to improve in those areas. So you just have to take inventory, right, of what that is. And so the more exposure that our players get to those moments, then the more that we can teach and the better that they can become. And so when we get in those moments, we try to focus on what we need to do. You know, what's the task? Do we need to execute? What play are we going to run? What do we need from them defensively? What do we need them to force? What's the scheme? Make sure they do their best in trying to adhere to that, and then usually you get some good results.
I want to talk about the two games as a whole for a moment. We talked about being down 10 at the start of the fourth quarter against Cal, then kind of the back and forth game against Stanford. As a coach, how proud are you of just the resiliency that your group continues to show on a nightly basis?
Yeah, I mean, this group is playing really hard right now, and they're playing really together right now, and that has been, the hallmark of our teams. If you really think about our group the last few years, what I think has endeared us to our fans um, has been the fact that our players play really hard,
Mhm.
and I think our fans, um, respect that, and I think they root hard for it because it's hard not to root for a team that's playing their butt off. And our players the last month have played their butt off. And I'm not saying that just because we've won all the games. Because no, it's because they're really trying hard. They're playing connected, they're playing unselfishly. I mean, if you fell in love with the game of basketball, uh, at some point in your life, I'm going to guess that a big part of it was the team nature of it.
Mhm.
Like you love to watch a group play together, succeed together, root hard for one another, cheer for one another, encourage one another. And that's what this group is doing right now. It took us some time to get to that, to get our chemistry and to get our connectivity, but we have it at this point. And to me, that's all you can ask for as a coach is to have a group that gives you total buy-in and that busts their butt for each other.
Does that sort of start off the court, maybe in the locker room or when they're hanging out together, that cohesiveness and the chemistry that they develop?
I mean, I would tell you like probably before this year, I would tell you yes. And but then like we were so close off the court and we stunk in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know that it helped us.
Mhm.
They're close off the court, so that has always been the case. But we still stunk.
Okay.
So I don't know that it carried over.
Sure. Sure.
And now they still like each other,
Well, yeah.
but we're better. So I don't know if it's. I guess what I'm saying is I can't say it's just that. Does that help? I think so,
Mhm.
but it's not the main thing because we were close and friends and we were stinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cal had won 24 of their last 25 home games going into the game on Thursday, and then you beat Stanford on Sunday. Just the second team over the first 2 years of teams going west to go 2-0 in the West Coast road trip.
Who was the first?
North Carolina last year.
Oh, okay.
Does this sort of underscore just how tough it is to win on a nightly basis in the ACC?
Well, I think it's just hard to go all the way out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're two very good teams, very good programs. You look at their history and what those programs have been able to do. Someone told me it's the first time Duke ever won at Stanford.
It was, yeah,
It was?
0-2 all time before the win.
Oh, we had just played 2 though.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had one of those
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
yeah, the
We
overtime
lost in
game, yeah.
overtime, yeah. So yeah, I think it's just hard to win on the road in general, but certainly when you go that far west and you're playing two really good teams, I would guess that it's going to be hard for most teams making that West Coast swing to win because both of those programs are really good.
We'll take a break. We'll come back to Grub and have more with Coach after this on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield.
Silence doesn't heal the pain.
Streams it. When's it dropping?
I want to talk about the defense for a few minutes. Mentioned down 10 points at the start of the fourth quarter at Cal. Outscored them 24-10 in the final quarter of that game. Some big defensive stops, obviously, against Stanford down the stretch. What do you make of the way your team is playing on the defensive end of the floor right now?
Cal on defense, I thought we were not that good, but we were good when it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And the start of the fourth quarter, I thought, was really important. We were down 10, and within like a minute, we were down 4. Like we got a score. We executed first play out of the timeout. Then we got a 5-second call.
Mm-hmm.
We scored, and then we got another score. And so that, to me, was actually the key to the quarter. Because think about it, if the reverse happens and they go on a 6-0 run to start the quarter, now you're down 16.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference. Down 4, down 16. So I thought the focus to start that quarter helped us. And then, like I said, we made enough plays late to be able to win that game. Stanford, you know, we're playing hard. We're not doing the right things as much as we should yet.
Okay.
And so I think that's more of like, again, the coach. But at the same time, like they scored 60 points, you know, and we were able to get stops when we needed them late. And that's again what you want. So knowing that there's another level for us, and obviously I don't always want to sound like pessimistic or not happy, but you know, the standard is high and the expectation is high, and our goal is to win. And so if we allow slippage to happen through the course of wins, then it's like we're gonna have to pay the piper at some point. Like we're gonna lose because we're allowing our fundamentals to slip. So keep those standards high, keep those expectations high, keep pushing for them to reach them. And when I say reach them, like let's say you have you know 80 possessions in a game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know, maybe 40 of them right now are high level, and maybe 20 are like mid, and like 20 are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we gonna go 80-0? No. Like never happens. But can we get like 45 really good and maybe 25 mid and maybe 10 bad? You know, can we like start inching to where there's fewer and fewer bad possessions in a game? That's more of what I want us to be fixated on, is less bad possessions and more solid possessions.
Is that on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively, in terms of high, mid, low?
Yeah. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Yeah, we're just messing some things up. So we're gonna keep working. And that's normal.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's normal. You're trying to refine details, execute. Sometimes we're scoring and everybody's cheering and clapping, and I'm like, that was not what was supposed to happen. Not the scoring part, but like how we got to the score
Right.
was like the wrong thing. And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, do not cheer this bad habit right now. But you guys don't know it's a bad habit because you don't know what the player's supposed to be.
Right.
So like it's not like that's kind of what's happening. But we we just play so hard and we're competitive and we play so much together. And this group's chemistry is so strong that even when that happens, they're doing it in the right spirit. So it's basketball. It's going to be good and bad.
How much are Jackson and Mayer leading this team on the defensive end?
Yeah, Mayer, Jackson, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, those three
Yeah.
are the core group in terms of their mastery of our system, their communication, their competitiveness, their ability to do it right. Like I said, like 90% of the time they're doing it right. That helps all the other players. But those three definitely are at a higher level on the defensive end
All right.
than everybody else.
I want to talk about Delaney and the rest of your forwards who had a really big week out in California. We'll talk about that when we come back to Grub. Have more with Coach after this on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield. Grub with the head coach of the Blue Devils, Lawson. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Coach, we were talking about the forwards just a moment ago, and I just want to talk about the group collectively before we dive individually. Toby and Delaney and Ari and Woody, the whole group, and just how big they were for your club in those two games last week at California and Stanford.
Yeah, this group is so impactful, productive, disruptive with how they play, and they're all stylistically a little different, which I think is great. What they bring to the table. Ariana with the best game of her career against Cal, and certainly in that first half, I think she had 18 in that first half, and carried our offense. We were sluggish in that half, and who knows where the deficit would have been if Ariana didn't play that way. So you can see a lot of her potential and what type of player that she is and what type of player she can be for us. So it was great to see that. And then her making that clutch play late as well. So not only having that super productive game, but making that clutch play late with the rebound. So she's doing well and growing, getting more and more comfortable and growing in her understanding of how tough the games are going to be, how physical the games are going to be, the schemes, like all of those things. Remember, she's just a freshman. And so she's still learning and growing like crazy. And so, I believe in her. I trust in her. I think she's only going to continue to be, more impactful as the season goes on for us. And then you look at what Toby and Delaney have done both for us to be so consistent for us all year, understanding and knowing what we're going to get from those two is really good. And Delaney was so solid out there. Scoring and rebounding and defending. She's really doing it all for us right now, and it's great to see her as a junior really step into the forefront for us and be someone that we can count on both ends.
Let me dive deeper into that a little bit. We mentioned Ariana, ACC Rookie of the Week. It was announced yesterday. Nice to see her getting the recognition for the games that she had out in California. But you talk about the growth during the course of the season for maybe a freshman or somebody like Ariana who's working their way back from that injury. Do you maybe see more incremental growth throughout the season rather than big, long gaps of growth?
Yeah, I think especially when you're talking about someone coming back from an injury,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just like they're cleared and they're
Like-
back to 100%. It's a buildup. It's a buildup, especially when the time that she was out was a long period of time. So the buildup in strength, the buildup in confidence, the buildup in her movement. I think her movement continues to get better and better, and that as well as her ability to have some experiential wisdom now, not just us telling her things. Now she has some experiential wisdom to where, oh yes, I remember this team did that too. This is how I'm supposed to do it. I remember this action. This is how I'm supposed to guard it. She's starting to have that as well, and that's when a player can really play off their instincts when it's themselves like remembering things versus us having to say it every time.
To Delaney now, she scored 39 points over the 2 games in California, shot 55% over those 2 games from the field. You said this to me post game the other day, just how nice it is to see Delaney getting the recognition that she deserves for the success that she's had, not just this year, but really throughout her Duke career.
Yeah, I mean, I love Delaney. Like, you guys, you have no idea how great a kid this is. Like, she is like the best kid. Like, she's so great. Um, she's just like if you think of any adjective that you appreciate about a person, she has that. She's a great teammate. She's got great empathy for other people. She's dependable. She's consistent. She's disciplined. She's tough and physical. You can see that when she plays. She's like genuine and authentic in her emotions. Like she's really happy if someone else does well. She's really happy if she does well too. But some people can't even find happiness when someone else does well. Like she can. She's smart. Yeah, she's just a total package. So for us, I mean, none of us are surprised about Delaney, because we see it every day and we see what she's capable of. And I think her teammates see what she's capable of, and they have a great belief in her.
How much more is she playing with maybe confidence and aggressiveness, particularly trying to get to the basket and absorbing the contact and getting to the foul line?
Well, she's getting more shot attempts this year than she has in her career, and obviously we're playing through her some as well. And so there's no doubt, having a bigger slice of the offense is probably giving her more confidence, and more responsibility to come through for us. But she's shown that in her career as well. I mean, even when she was young, like as a freshman, she would play big in big games, and we'd be like, whoa, that then I was surprised, like I was like, oh, in big games, she's like gets after it, and now you have this sample size of 2.5 years, and so you've just seen it before, and her ability to do it consistently offensively, that's new this year, right? Like we've always known she's capable of having big games, big scoring games, but now to be able to do it every night is great to see her progression in that way.
All right, take a break. We'll come back to Grub and have more with Coach after this on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield. The head coach of the Blue Devils, Carol Lawson. Thanks so much for spending part of your Tuesday night with us. We were talking a second ago. You mentioned confidence and how much your players are playing with confidence. I'm curious for a shooter, because you were a shooter, you were a scorer, you were a hooper. We know all that. When you maybe
I don't have a problem with confidence.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
I know. But as a player who maybe you missed your first 4 or 5 shots. How do you have the confidence? Now, I know you didn't. I'm just saying in general as a player, not you. If you miss your first 4 or 5 shots, how do you still have that confidence to be able to take the shot when the game's on the line at the end of the game?
Well, I think, confidence is derived from the work that you put in. It's not derived from the result. So if your confidence is derived from result, then you'll only feel confident when you have good result, and you won't be confident when you have bad result. Well, that's no way to live. So the confidence is derived from your work. If you work and you practice the shot, then why would you worry about missing it? You've put in the work, so shoot it.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it, and that's why I always looked at it. And you can't make it if you don't shoot it, So I'd rather just shoot it.
Yeah,
and now that's easier said than done. Not every player, comes to college or starts at a young age has that mentality, but the confidence that you have in your game should come from your work. And if you're a player that works on your game, then you have the right to be you earn that. You earn the right to be confident. It's not like something you give. Like you wake up and you wait for someone to give it to you. Like that's not going to work either, because not everybody's going to give you confidence. So you earn the right to have it by how you prepare. And I think this is more like being, like people say, being ready or being confident. Like it's not a feeling, it's a decision. And I think people mistake that all the time. Like confidence is not a feeling. Someone says, "Do you feel confident?" No, I am confident. There's a difference. Because if you think it's a feeling, then you have to wait till you have that feeling. What if you don't have that feeling Thursday night at 8:00? What you gonna do? How you gonna get it?
You ain't.
You ain't gonna get
You
it.
ain't.
So it's not a feeling, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Like I decide to be confident. So now, like I've taken that away from, and nobody in here gets to make. It's my choice. I choose. Right. So I choose to go into the game confidently. I decide I'm going to shoot the ball confidently. And I think a lot of people have that screwed up. They're waiting for a feeling. They're waiting to. Oh, how many times you been waiting for a feeling?
Me?
General, yeah.
Yeah. No.
You ever waited for a feeling?
No, not really.
Not really?
No.
Oh, so a lot of people wait.
No.
They wait to feel a certain way.
No.
About somebody. They're waiting. It don't happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't wait for feelings.
No.
No, just make decisions.
I'm just go with your gut.
That's right.
Go.
Well, I don't know about all that. Just make decisions.
Yeah.
And
stick to them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Feels like Toby's playing with a lot of confidence, particularly the way she hit those 2 big shots down the stretch at Stanford, the baseline jumper, and then that huge 3 at the end of the game.
She's confident. She's one of my most confident players. It's one of my favorite things about her is she has great competitive spirit. She believes in herself and her abilities, and she's going to go and compete as hard as she can. And so I think that's what makes her a really good player, because she has that. She's grown so much from freshman to sophomore year. She's so much more consistent. She's obviously playing a larger role this year in terms of minutes, in terms of her defensive, what we're asking of her on the defensive end. And then offensively, we're playing through her, more than any other player on our roster. We play through Toby because of the attention that she draws. So I'm just really proud that as a sophomore, that she's helping to lead us, in a meaningful way, not just lead us in statistical categories, but help lead us to wins, and I talk about that a lot. That's the most meaningful stat. Toby helps lead us to wins, which I respect a lot.
Let's get to some audience questions. Cindy, who's here tonight, wants to know, does the ebb and flow of the crowd's enthusiasm, does the team sense that, and how does it impact play?
Yeah, 100%. The crowd and the noise that they're able to make and the support that they're able to show definitely gives our players a lot of juice and a lot of energy. And I think that's why, every sport over every decade, if you look at the home and the road win-loss record, there's a reason. A big part of that is the crowd.
To that end, I was told today the Brass Bar Club that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, only 2 games this year that has any availability whatsoever. That's
Yeah.
SMU and Wake Forest. So if you want to get in the Brass Bar Club, now's your chance to get down there and experience the hottest new club in Durham.
The hottest new club. Is that what is that? I like
That's what Rachel told me to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I never thought of that.
That's
I did. Yeah, I never thought I was going to the club. Yeah, but yeah,
it is the club. It's the Brass
is.
Bar Club.
Yes.
Bar Brothers in our audience tonight. How important is the bounce pass in the realm of moving the offense? It seems, Barbara says, it seems much less emphasized than in her basketball days 100 years ago.
100 years ago.
Just read what's on the card.
Okay. I can't speak to 100 years ago, but what I can share with you is that the bounce pass is still an important pass in the game. It is slower pass. It is a slower pass. So when we talk about pace of the offense and the ball moving from side to side, the bounce pass tends to be a slower pass. If you have a choice, it's, air pass is better because it's quicker. Now, when you will utilize a bounce pass if it's necessary, meaning in order to thread the needle and get it through there, you have to bounce it in order to make the entry or make the pass. But by and large, it's a slower pass. So unless you need to, you won't use it. So I would guess that's why there's more air passes than bounce passes, because it's just slow. Like he's got to hit the ground and he's got to come back up.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the post players. They're so tall, like they don't want to go all the way down here to catch the ball. It's easier for them if you throw it to where their hands are.
Is it important to throw it maybe more chest high, like chin high for a post player so they can get it in one motion and then go up and score?
I mean, I think the accuracy is the most important thing. So yeah, like getting to where they can catch it pretty easily in front of them. That's the best case scenario. You can't always pass it accurately,
Sure.
but our forwards are pretty good at catching. So that helps. You can throw it to them sometimes behind them or in front of them, and they still have the ability to go get it. So that's helpful. I played with probably one of the best forwards at catching the ball. Her name was Yolanda Griffith, and she had really long arms and she had really big hands. And I mean, I got so spoiled because I could throw that thing anywhere, and she would just get it. And then you throw the same pass to someone else and it's a turnover, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, that wasn't her." So there's somebody else. Like she saved me from so many turnovers.
We're going to visit with Karen Middleton coming up here in just a second. Maybe just a word on Karen and what she means to you in the program.
Yeah, Karen has been an integral part of our staff and continues to just make her presence felt with her basketball IQ, with her preparation, with her ability to teach. And, also in game, she continues to be someone I rely on for adjustments, for play ideas, like all of those things through the game. She's somebody that, I can trust. I mean, I can trust all
Sure.
my assistants, but she's someone that gives me really good ideas in game and actions to run or adjustments to make. And so you need that. Almost all of the good things, I say this all the time, and I'm not being like fake humble, like it's true. Most of the good things you see from our program come from our assistant coaches. Almost all of it comes from them, their ideas, their experience, what they see. It's a combination of all those things. And then, I communicate it, but the idea is coming from them. And so I think that's important to know that like this is really shared amongst the 6 of us. And I am not the creator of all the good ideas and all the good adjustments and all the good plays. It's them that's doing it. And my job is to communicate. Sometimes I'm sifting through multiple good ideas. And so, yeah, is it my job to pick the one I want to use? Sure. I'm not saying I don't do anything. I mean, I do a little something, but most of it is them. And that's the truth. That's the truth, from the teaching of the players daily to the watching of the film with the players daily. That the growth that you see when I'm sitting up here talking about the growth of Delaney, that's Coach Tia. When I'm sitting here talking about the growth of Woody, that's Coach Karen Middleton. When I'm sitting here talking about the growth of players, that's those guys. That's not me. That's them every single day, teaching, watching film, instructing, encouraging, challenging. That all is happening every single day. And so she's been a big part of our success and continues to be, a vital piece to our staff.
Go visit with Karen coming up when we come back to Grub on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield. Well, the Kara Lawson Show continues on this Tuesday night. Thanks so much for joining us. Happy to have Duke assistant coach Karen Middleton joining us. Great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks, Chris. Good to be here.
I think we've talked about this before, but I want you to refresh everybody. When did you know that you wanted to go into coaching?
I think I knew right away when I was younger. Loved playing basketball. I have an older brother, 5 years older, and tried to hang with him and his buddies. And we would play, and we'd play outside, and didn't really have an indoor court to go to, so we had our basket in the backyard and turned the floodlight on it and shot until mom and dad said come in. So, but I just loved the game and tried to hang with my brother as much as I could, and just fell in love with it from there and wanted to continue to stay with it. I thought I was going to teach high school math and coach high school, and that was what happened until I got out of did my undergrad, and then an opportunity came up to be the restricted earnings coach, get my master's at the same time at South Carolina, and it just took off from there. So
how rewarding is it to see the growth of the game and the sport? I mean, you talked about being the restricted earnings coach, and
Right.
now you've had such a great career in coaching. Just to see the players and how the game is growing, how rewarding is that for you?
It's incredible, the opportunities that our players have, the resources that are there now for our younger girls growing up to play, to be inspired by players in the WNBA is I didn't have that. We were watching, honestly, Raycom Sports, ACC,
Yep.
the game of the week, and that's what I grew up watching on the weekends on Saturday, watching those games and watching the Duke players, and love watching them. But that was who I had to watch, and but now to have the opportunity for our players for the W and the unrivaled, and just so many different opportunities out there is incredible.
You were a coach at Stanford for about a decade, so I'm curious what it was like for you going back out there last weekend. Obviously, pretty sweet to get that win and fly back home with a 2-0 week.
Exactly. 2-0. You beat Cal, who was the rival to start with, is awesome. And then, the road is hard. So, the weather's out there nice. It's nice to visit, but it's great to come back home to Duke. That's for sure.
You've been at Duke with this program since 2023. I'm curious, maybe your impressions of Duke and Durham before you got here, and now that you've been here for a couple of years, have those impressions changed, or has it solidified what you thought Duke was always all about?
I always had great respect and admiration for what Duke did, men's and women's. I loved watching Gail's team and what they did, making their runs. I know Tia was part of that too. But just the academic piece was always very important to me, important to my family. It was something that was always emphasized. So to have that elite combination of both was always, you always know that about Duke. I mean, it's just excellence and a high standard, and just the best of the best.
We got an audience question that says for Karen, and I think in the time we've been doing this, this is the first time someone has specifically asked a question for our guest in the show tonight. So
Oh.
They don't want me to answer it.
well, they asked you this question last week.
Oh.
So it's from Kristen, who says, for Karen, can you tell us what the players are using the black notebooks for? Because, as the question says, Karen didn't know last week. Just read what's on the card, y'all.
Well, I don't know either. I don't. Maybe Tia does. I don't know. I can't answer
Nobody knows.
that. Nobody knows.
They're not writing anything.
Maybe it's just a mutiny at the end of the bench or something. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there's something productive about it.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't know.
I said I'm sure it's good.
Yeah,
I just don't know what
I know. I don't. I'm sure they're tracking something.
Okay.
Or looking at opportunities we could have. Like just what we're doing or what we could do better. But I really have no clue. I'm focused on what we're doing.
See what happens when you bypass me?
Yeah.
You get nothing.
That's right.
You get nothing.
I am curious your perspective on this, and I don't want you to give away any state secrets or anything, but you obviously do some of the scouting reports of the opponents that Duke's getting ready to play. When you start to break down an opponent or break down film, are there certain things you're looking for to try to convey those things to the Duke players?
Strong tendencies, exactly what they're doing. Obviously Stanford was my scout. So what are they doing offensively? What do we need to prepare for? What things are they doing defensively? What can we take advantage of? So we go in with a mindset of we know where our advantage is. We've had an opportunity to do some breakdowns of how we can attack their ball screen defense, or can we really rim run and get out and go even more so than we normally do? Just things that we can emphasize to get an edge. And player tendencies. Are they a driver? Are they a shooter first? So then our players can really be prepared and confident about who they're guarding and what they need to try to take away. Our defensive standards are our standards. Like we want to do things a certain way, but some players are really strong left-handed drivers. Some like to spin, so you got to be ready for a spin. Some have quick releases on their threes, some have slower. So it's just trying to get as much information, but not overload them as to what they're going to see. And then coaches have a lot more information so that, Kara especially can be very strategic in the things that we're running and how we're going to do that.
Who are the players that you've seen make the biggest growth so far this season?
Oh, I mean, I think we all have.
Mhm.
But I think you see it in your younger players, obviously the most. We talked about Ariana and what she's been able to do. Woody, I work with Woody, so we're challenging her to play two positions, which is not always easy, but to be able to grasp that and, jump to the perimeter and now try to play perimeter defense. She's really growing, got work to do still, as we all do. But you see it in your younger players the most.
As I let you go, what's the biggest thing you want to see this team continue to do better over the back half of the season?
I think it's just continued consistency. That's what everyone's striving for. We've seen progress, and now can we be even better defensively? Can we be better in an execution standpoint where we don't have lapses, where we aren't running things the right way? Like, get the good shot, and if it goes in, that's great. We want the shot that we're working for. So just trying to be consistent and everything, and Coach Kara talks about competing. Like, that's got to be a given for us. And it has been, which has been a lot of fun.
It's great. Karen, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Karen Middleton joining us. We'll come back and have more from Grub after this on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield. Grub with the head coach of the Blue Devils, Carol Lawson. Thanks for joining us tonight. Coach, we were talking about the forwards and the post players a couple of minutes ago, and I want to go back to that for just a second. We've seen a lot more combinations with maybe Toby and Ariana or Delaney all playing together. Some of that is obviously dictated by the game and the matchup, but what have you liked about the group of your forwards when they're in there playing together and how they play together and off one another?
They're building their chemistry. They're building their chemistry with one another, and they all have different skill sets from each other. They're all competent scorers. They all can rebound the ball at a high rate. They all can impact defensively, and they're very good athletes, fluid athletes, all three of them. So their chemistry with one another is growing. I think Delaney and Toby's chemistry is probably the best of the forwards, just because they played more minutes together, being in the starting lineup together. They've had more time together, but both of their connection with Ariana is growing as well, because every game it's usually a combination of two of those three in the game at one time. So they're starting to learn one another, find one another. They pass to each other well, and they all root hard for each other. So I think it's a good chemistry amongst those three.
A couple other audience questions to get to. Toby played significant fourth quarter minutes with 4 fouls. You trusted her to keep it all together and seemed to rise to the challenge with not picking up the 5th foul, and were strong to the bucket. What did you make of Toby's play with those 4 fouls on Sunday?
Well, I was nervous. I think Delaney might have been hurt for a part of that. So some of that was maybe just a function of, well, I only have 5 players at that point. But I do think the point is valid. Having not as much depth as we've enjoyed in the years past, there's an element of trust that I have to have with each of them to be able to play with fouls. And they're all going to have moments where we need them to play with fouls and still impact the game. That doesn't mean just let someone score. You still have to be able to impact the game. So in that game, yes, Toby did a great job late playing with the 4. I thought Ashlyn did a great job early playing with the 1. She picked up 1 in the beginning of the first quarter. I didn't want to take her out, trusted her there, and she didn't pick up another one in that first quarter, and that was huge. So there's moments with all of them through the course of the year that they're going to have to play with fouls. Sometimes I'm not going to have them play with fouls because there's someone on the bench that could come in and give them some minutes, but that is something that we're working on with all of them to be able to have stretches. And the more they have stretches like that, obviously, the more I'll be open to playing them with fouls in the future if they show that they can do that. So sometimes it's hit and miss sometimes with Toby and Delaney and the fouls, or whether they can play with them or not.
Sure,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Another audience question: when you had some of the USA players here a few weeks ago, were your current Duke players able to interact with the USA players?
Yes, they got a chance to visit with them, which was great. They got a chance to interact with them, and obviously a lot of those guys are younger.
Yeah.
So they actually knew them. They're friends with some of them already because they're ones that just went into the league last year or the year before. And so a lot of our players knew them. And of course, they all know Chelsea.
Sure.
That who comes to our games every year and is a big supporter of ours. So yeah, they got a chance to see him and be around him, and it was good.
By the way, speaking of Chelsea, how about the way Chelsea is hooping at Unrivaled right now?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's great.
Listen, Chelsea's obviously a really talented player, very competitive, very, very cerebral, and is played at a high level this season to help lead her team to another championship, and played well in our camp here a couple weeks ago, and so nothing she does surprises me. That's for sure.
Yeah, been a lot of fun to watch her continue to play. I was thinking about maybe advanced stats the other day. Like, no, just
this is about to be a crazy stat or a crazy question.
Well, I mean, we've been together for so long. They're all crazy questions. Haven't you learned that by now? But are there advanced numbers that are important to you, like points per possession, or does the plus? I know it's not an advanced number, but does plus minus of a box score matter?
there are certain stats that I think that I like, and points per possession is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Or points, points per 100 possessions, or points
Sure.
per 80 possessions, depending on how you want to phrase it. So yeah, I
Okay.
do think there are some good numbers out there separate from the box score that you would get online, that we look at, and that we monitor and that we see. So for sure. Plus minus, I mean, I think it's better in over the course of games versus one game, an isolated. You could just get out there at the time the other team goes on a run, and your plus minus can be negative because you were out there when the other team went on their run. But over time, I think it is a solid metric. Over 10 games or 20 games, if the team's consistently in the negative over 20 games when you're in, well, that's probably not a good thing.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, I think with numbers, it's more of, to me, like, do you have enough of them?
Mm-hmm.
Enough data. Like right now, we're 6 games in to league play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so here's what's hard about stats right now to me. Okay, let's say you play a really hard non-conference like we did. So our numbers will be lower offensively and higher defensively. You know what I mean? Like, we will score. Like, if you play South Carolina, UCLA, LSU, Baylor, you're going to score less than when you play the average team. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they're really good. And your defense is going to, like, give up more points versus the average team, because they're really good. So it's really hard to compare teams in the non-conference of how good offenses and defenses, because they're playing different competition. So it's not really comparable.
Right.
Once you start league play, everybody's playing the same people. So now the comps work. But we're only 6 games in, so it's not enough time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you need like 10 games.
Sure.
So once you get 10 games in ACC play, if you look at ACC numbers only, you can kind of see. So you'll see teams like they'll be like, oh, they're the number 1 offense in the ACC. And you're like, well, are they? They just had the number 1 offense in the non-conference. That's not in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm telling you how I think. So once you start comparing, so I don't know where we are in the league yet.
Right.
I can't tell you relative to the other teams if we're good offensively or bad defensively, because there's not enough games yet. I know we haven't lost, so I know we're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell that stuff. And so people make so many like grand, like sweeping like conclusions, come to these conclusions about teams like through the non-conference. And I'm like, well, how do you know until they start playing? And so that's why you see like some teams are terrific in non-conference and terrible in conference. Some teams are terrific in both. Some teams are bad in both, but you don't know. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Can we be a team in one of the best teams in this conference? I think so, but we're only 1/3 the way through.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2/3 left. And so that 2/3 is going to determine how good a team we are. Not
Question gave a good answer, so thank you.
Well, that's what I'm here for. That's my role.
It is. And I appreciate that. We'll come back and wrap it up with Coach after this on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield. With the head coach of the Blue Devils, Carol Lawson, as we wrap things up here on this Tuesday night. Coach, pretty special week coming up at Cameron. Obviously, 2 home games against Virginia and Georgia Tech. Tomorrow, Thursday night against Virginia, we back Pat. Chance to honor Coach Summit, who you played for, and just curious your perspective on the importance of continuing to honor Coach Summit and her legacy and all that she meant to the game.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely the biggest reason that I'm a coach in terms of how to learn foundationally, what the program is going to be about, how to teach, how to challenge, how to hold players accountable, how to push them to excellence. All that comes from Coach Summit, and so once a year we get the opportunity to honor her at least publicly, and it's great. It's great to do that, and when she's buried just outside of Nashville, about 45 minutes outside of Nashville. And so every time I go to Nashville, I go to see her. We played in Nashville against Belmont earlier this year, so I went to her gravesite and got a chance to spend some time with her, and so it's meaningful every time that I go there, and meaningful every time that we get a chance to honor just not who she meant to who she was to me, but also her impact in the sport. You talked about ask Karen Middleton the question about what it's like now to see the sport growing, and we're not here as a sport without Coach Summit's impact and what she meant to the game, and how she continued to push it forward throughout her entire time in the sport. And so it's meaningful to be where we are. And then as I shared personally, when I was named the USA coach, to be the head coach for the U.S. team in L.A. And she was the coach in L.A. the last time the Olympics were in L.A. in '84 is meaningful as well.
Meaningful on Sunday, too, to have a chance to honor Special Olympics and all the Special Olympics athletes that are coming to our game against Georgia Tech.
So great.
It's awesome.
I've been working with Special Olympics since I was a young kid. My dad used to take me to, when I was like 10, 11 years old, to Special Olympics in D.C., and then I used to hand out medals at their competitions. And when I was in high school, every week on Saturdays, we played with Special Olympics throughout my high school career. So I have a great partnership with them, and we're going to host them at practice on Saturday, the day before, and then we're going to host them at the game on Sunday. And they'll have a chance to experience Cameron and root for our team. So our players are looking forward to it, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Also announced today the dates for basketball camps. The Carol Lawson basketball camps coming up this summer.
Yes.
Can't wait to see the Hoopers in Cameron.
That's right. I mean, we had camps for the first time last summer, had an overwhelming response. And so, yeah, if you have a youngster that's interested in coming to camp, man, sign up early, because we announced it earlier this year. So I think the spots are going to go fast.
It's awesome. As we wrap up, give me what are the biggest keys this week to have a successful week against Virginia and Georgia Tech?
They're both really good teams. This game is going to be really challenging on Thursday, challenging on Sunday. For us, compete at a high level. I think we have to rebound at a high level. Play with great pace and get contributions from multiple players. I think that's been our strength in ACC play, is we've had multiple people contributing each game, and for us to keep winning, that has to continue.
Talked about the crowd earlier. Need to have 2 big crowds at Cameron. I know it's kind of a late start Thursday and Sunday, but maybe people can power through, get a nap, and come to Cameron and watch the Blue Devils and cheer us on.
Yeah, take a nap if you need to. I mean, yeah, we're in the stretch run here. We need to get this thing going.
All right, Coach. Yeah. Thanks for the time as always. We'll see you Thursday night at the house.
Thanks, Chris.
That's the head coach of the Blue Devils, Carol Lawson. Thanks for joining us tonight for the Carol Lawson Radio Show on the Blue Devil Sports Network from Learfield.